Hello. Today we're going to do an unboxing, but this time we're going to unbox a book. As you may guess from my backdrop, I read a lot and I love books, and this is only a part of my library because when I last moved, I had to ditch some of the books for cost reasons because, you know, moving cross countries and even across an ocean is actually quite expensive, and the more boxes you have, the more expensive it gets. I also had to ditch, I would say, 50% of my games library. I'm still aching from the shock, but that's how it is. But I don't only like books, and I have been adding to my library. Most recently, I added 14 books by the great Queen of Crime, Agatha Christie. They're all thrifted for about €2 per book. Translations, which doesn't really matter because, you know, Agatha Christie, while, of course, one might argue every translation is always an act of treason, as the saying goes. With Agatha Christie, the language isn't as important, so you can read them very well in the German translation. So I got these books very cheaply. But I also like beautiful books. So a book that looks great is something that I really like. And for the longest time, I have been envying all those book boxes that you can get in the United States, or the book of the month, those beautiful hardcovers that you can get, because I was looking for something similar. I came across the Büchergilde, which does create beautiful books. Unfortunately, they are super eclectic. So I got the first volume of a 3-part series, the Honjin Murders, in German. The problem is they're probably not going to translate the other or publish the other 2. So I'm going to have to get those in a different edition, and it's going to look terrible. However, the other day somebody alerted me, my partner in crime said, Bücherbüchse. Bücherbüchse is a little bit like, I believe, Book of the Month. You can also order boxes which get delivered to you. They have different, if you like, themes. There's the love box, there's the magic box, and sometimes I also think that they have a crime box, and then basically you get one book per month. You can say book only, or you can say book with goodies, but they also basically sell books. Their selection is super eclectic, and a lot of it is romance, which is not my book at all. But I have found a couple that I have been interested in, and one of them is actually dark academia, and it's the Atlas 6. Now, I know that a lot of people are unhappy about the book, the Atlas 6, because the idea is that there are 6 people vying for 5 places in some kind of secret society associated with the Alexandrian Library. However, the Alexandrian Library, although that's supposedly where they will be working, is never shown. And a lot of people have criticized this book for it. What I didn't realize, and maybe what they didn't know either when they were reading the book, was that it's going to be a 3-part series. Maybe that wasn't clear from the beginning, or maybe this is a decision that this person has made recently. I certainly wasn't aware of it. And when I heard that I can get the Atlas 6 here, and it also says it's the beginning of a trilogy, and they already have the 2nd volume in the same edition on pre-order, I was like, I'm going to get this book. And without further ado, here's my first purchase from the Bücherbüchse. This is what it looks like. It's a hardcover, and it's got a colored and printed side, so top and bottom and side, and it comes with a signature print from the author. And let's see what it's like if we open it. And of course I'm going to have to do the smell test, because books smell, and some of them smell very differently. Oh, and I'm also going to show you 2 other books that I got this week because I couldn't help myself. I swore I'm not going to buy any more books, but hey, you know, that's one of those New Year's resolutions that I gladly break, because books are our friends. So basically, This may look golden and shiny, but it's only shiny. It's not really gold. But you know, you were not expecting this. It smells really nice. It's got a dust jacket. It's got a dust jacket. I also like the emblem. Okay. This is the first time that I'm seeing a picture of the author. So her name is Olivier Blake or Olivier Blake. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. So this is what she looks like. The dusk jacket. I keep saying this. The dust jacket is what it looks like. And the Atlas Paradox is going to be published at the end of April 2023. And the book itself, the paper it feels very good. Oh, this paper feels nice. The print is nice and big. You know, I'm turning 51 this year, so my eyes are actually certifiably less good than they were. And look at this. I mean, this is beautiful. There is art in here. Oh, wow. I'm loving this. I mean, this is really such a nice edition of the book. And in German it clocks in at 540 pages. So essentially this is the Bücherbüchse version. It's published by Fischer Thor. Fischer is a very old German imprint. Thor seems to be a newer imprint of theirs that deals mainly with, as far as I can tell, sci-fi, fantasy, etc., which I really like, because sometimes fantasy gets put into the weird corner, dirty corner, so the famous and big imprints don't want anything to do with it. The publishers basically don't touch it or didn't used to touch it, but this is now clearly changed. I'm very happy with this purchase. I've got another one on the way called The Secret of Pandora Blake or something like that. It's possibly young adult, but it's also, I mean, it's kind of in line with something that I have been reading. Nancy Springer, Enola Holmes. There's apparently also a film starring Millie Bobby Brown. I keep calling her Millie. Is it Millie or Molly Bobby Brown? Anyway, 11 from Stranger Things. And I really like them, and they are definitely young adult. It won't take you long to read one of those. I can read one of these in a day. But I believe that the Pandora book that I'm getting is probably along the same lines, but if a book is well written, it doesn't really matter who it's addressing. So basically I also got two more books today. Well, actually I picked them up. No, that's not true. I picked them up 2 days ago. This one is a book that is old. I mean, I love Gothic books. And this is The Castle of Otranto by Horace Walpole in the Oxford University Press version. Doesn't smell as nice as this one, and it also contains explanatory notes and an introduction, because obviously it's always, I mean, I had to take literature when I was studying, because when you do your degree in English, and even if you focus on linguistics, theoretical linguistics, you have to do some introduction to literature. I did the basic introduction, so literature, English literature 101, and then I did my first, the 102 was basically Caribbean English-speaking literature, which was very interesting because it introduced me to works that I would never have read otherwise. And the other one that I have, oh, and this feels beautiful, is S.T. Gibson's A Dowry of Blood. Now, do I like vampires? I do and I don't, because obviously you don't really want to meet somebody who will kill you, because, you know. But I really like the concept of the vampire. the idea that there is a creature that lives by drinking someone else's blood, maybe killing them in the process, maybe not, maybe just drinking and taking some of their blood, or maybe, outright killing them, maybe even turning them into something that is like them, maybe inferior or to the same degree. And of course, I've read Dracula by Bram Stoker, like I don't know how many times I've read it. This is a retelling of the Dracula story, but through letters written by his first bride. Because obviously the original Dracula is also an epistolary novel. It is written through letters, diary entries, and I also believe that there are some newspaper clippings that are used to tell the story, which is great for a story that is that fantastical. The version that I have, and I don't even know where it is, it could be actually behind me, contains the white worm as well. And that doesn't really work. And I think the reason is that it's equally as fantastical, although I don't really think that the story is as iconic as Dracula, or not at all as iconic. But I believe that by using personal thoughts, letters, etc., describing what's happening, diary entries, you introduce the unreliable narrator, number one. You also introduce a level of immediacy that feels a lot different than if you have an omniscient third-person narrator, which of course would have been the staple of the day when he was writing. The idea that somebody is an omniscient writer, we see at his age, I mean, by the time of, for example, Sherlock Holmes, this was no longer the order of the day. But if you read the old stories, like if you read Jane Austen, for example, it's just tedious and terrifyingly boring. If you have somebody who's always knowing everything, I will tell you that I hate Jane Austen with a vengeance. I had to read her and I was like, I'm so glad when this is over. Controversial topic. I also don't like Charles Dickens, so, they're probably, they deserve all the praise, I'm absolutely sure, that they're getting, and they're classics in their own right, but they didn't do anything for me. Anyway, the idea to tell this story through letters is very appealing, because you introduce the unreliable narrator and you make clear that this is a very personal take on things. What she decides to write down is just equally as important as the stuff she decides not to write down. So you have this, that like the other person doesn't get to talk. If they get to talk, they get to talk through her, or the other people don't get to talk. If they get to talk, they get to talk through her eyes. And that is a very, very interesting take on things. And I had not heard of this. I came across this through BookTube. And I would like... Oh, it comes with a lot of disclaimers and trigger warnings. She has very beautiful writing. So the way she uses words is very impressive, and it is very lush, and it is also very romantic in the original sense of the word. I'm not saying that there is no romance in this book, because I believe that there is a lot of romance in this book, but there is the romantic style of writing, and that is what she is using here as well. So I've only, read the first 3 pages, but I can really say that I'm already loving this, and it is a book that lots of people enjoy. It is, I would say, not only dark, and it's about gaslighting and violence, and it basically, you get all of those trigger warnings, but it is a book that I think manages to take us back into a time when this kind of writing would have been the way to do it, the way to go. So that's all from me. It's a book haul, Castle of Otranto, Dowry of Blood, but of course, my first order from Bücherbüchse, and by no means my last. I've got one more book, which is going to be delivered tomorrow. I've got a secret, which is going to be delivered soon. It's not for me, it's a present. And I've got the second volume on order because I do want to get all three. Because I don't think I'm going to hate it, I'm not going to dislike it. And I just want them all to look like this one. So I want the collection that basically fits together, because I like beautiful books and I like it when they fit together. So talk to you soon. Bye bye.